They thought the story had ended. The tomb was sealed, the stone rolled in place, and the Son of God lay still, a lifeless body wrapped in linen and silence. But eternity does not end in silence. Because in the unseen realms, something beyond imagination had begun. Beneath the surface of the earth, in the shadowed corridors of eternity, Jesus was not resting. He was descending. The King who had walked among men now walked into the heart of death itself. Hell had never known light before that moment. But when Christ entered, every darkness trembled. For 3 days, while his body lay cold in the tomb, his spirit moved through dimensions no human eyes had seen. He came not as a victim, but as a conqueror. The fallen world above could not hear the echo of his steps, but creation felt it. Every demon remembered his voice. Every chained soul in the abyss lifted its head, because the impossible was happening. Jesus entered the realm of the dead, not as one defeated, but as the one who held the authority of heaven. Where Adam had fallen, he now stood. Where mankind had been bound, he now unlocked. The air in that place changed, the hopeless found hope. The gates of death that had never opened now shook upon their hinges. The prophecy was breathing. When Scripture says, "He descended into the lower parts of the earth," it was not poetic language. It was a divine mission. He went to set the captives free. For generations, souls had waited, the faithful who had died in trust, longing for redemption. Abraham, Moses, David, and the prophets, all who believed in the promise but had not yet seen it fulfilled. And suddenly he was there, the Son of God, standing in the shadow between death and life. No crown, no throne, only authority that could not be denied. Every eye turned toward him. Every ancient heart felt the pulse of heaven returning. And in one voice that thundered through eternity, he declared victory. "I am the resurrection and the life." In that declaration, the walls of separation shattered. The souls who once waited in silence began to rise in freedom. The grave had never seen such light, radiant, pure, unstoppable. Hell itself could not comprehend what was happening. The enemy, who once rejoiced at the cross, now realized the mistake that would echo forever. Because death had swallowed something it could never contain. Jesus was there to reclaim what sin had stolen. He took back the keys of death and hell, symbols of ultimate power, not through battle, but through divine authority. He did not fight, he commanded, and all creation bowed. Back on earth, time still moved slowly. The disciples mourned, the world wept, and faith felt fragile. But in eternity, a new dawn was already burning. The angels prepared the heavens for the return of the King. The veil that had torn in the temple now mirrored a greater truth. Separation between God and man was ending. And on the third day, when the morning sun broke over Jerusalem, something eternal stirred. The earth quaked as if recognizing its Creator's breath once more. The stone rolled not by human hands, but by the will of the Almighty. Light flooded the tomb, not sunlight, but heaven light, the brilliance of glory unrestrained. And from the silence, life returned. The same hands that had been pierced now moved again. The same eyes that had closed in death now opened, seeing the world with divine peace. The heart that had stopped now beat with eternity's rhythm. In that moment, the greatest reversal in history unfolded. Death had done its worst, but love had done more. When Jesus rose, he did not just return to life, he rewrote the meaning of life itself. He carried victory not as a trophy, but as an invitation. An invitation for humanity to walk out of its own tombs, of sin, fear, shame, and doubt. The resurrection was not just his story, it was ours, because those 3 days were not wasted. They were the days heaven redeemed the past, broke the curse, and opened the way for eternity. It was the unseen battle that won every visible war. In those silent hours, When the world thought nothing was happening, everything was being restored. When humanity felt abandoned, heaven was setting the stage for salvation. When death thought it had won, life was already writing its victory song. Every scar he carried became a seal of covenant. Every drop of blood a key to freedom. Every moment in that tomb, a seed of resurrection planted deep in time. And when he walked out, the universe knew death no longer had the final word. He had gone where no man could go, and returned with what no man could earn, redemption, eternal and alive. Even now, those 3 days speak to us, reminding every soul in darkness that heaven still descends into our despair. That light still finds us in our tombs. That love still conquers every silence. Because the same Jesus who walked into death walks into your pain. The same power that tore open the grave still whispers your name. And the same voice that called Lazarus from the tomb now calls your heart to rise. The world saw a crucifixion. Heaven saw a coronation. And every believer who walks in faith today walks in the echo of those 3 sacred days, when the Son of God turned the darkness of death into the dawn of eternity. For death bowed to life, and the grave became a doorway. And the whisper that rose from that empty tomb still says, "He is not here. He has risen." What Jesus did in those 3 days was not hidden, it was holy. He entered the silence to speak forever, stepped into death to awaken life, and proved that no darkness is deep enough to bury divine light.